Right, so folks, today we're going to start with agentic AI hands-on, because that's more practical applications of that entire generative AI ecosystem that we see, and there are enough tools available in the market which lets you practice as we go along, right? So we'll start with it. What I've planned for today's session will start with a little bit of foundation so that everyone has understanding of agentic AI ecosystem, and then we will try building a single agent with no code. We'll try doing it on platform called n8n, and I'm sure everyone must have heard about it. And if time permits, I've also planned one more case study for solopreneurs or founders or product leaders, right? Who, let's say, have an new product or a new feature to launch, right? And how do you go about creating end-to-end growth campaign or a growth funnel, right? So that's what we will try understanding. So let's get started. But before I go ahead, I just want to understand from all of you, have you created an AI agent earlier? Um, this is something which will help us understand like to what depth you have built, right? Okay. Lastly, the audience is saying no. Interesting. Okay, if you've not done it, then I think my next slide would not make sense, because how comfortable you are on a scale of 1 to 5. Because if you've not tried it, you'll definitely not be able to you know put your thoughts across to it. Now let's get to understanding a little bit of a theory, right? And then we go to building part, right? So when we first started building with LLMs, we were basically giving one prompt to one model and getting one response, right? And that kind of interaction basically worked for chatbots or content generation, but it was not good for systems that can act, reason, and in fact collaborate over time as well, right? So AI agents are basically designed to make AI systems autonomous, goal oriented, and multi steps, which are basically capable of reasoning, planning, and executing tasks as well, right? So that's what we will see. We'll also go through multiple iterations. We'll try understanding, okay, where AI is doing reasoning, where it is executing. We'll try seeing all of it. And this is, at least that reasoning, execution, planning, and definitely iterating over the previous learning as well. That's what AI agent as an ecosystem enables. If I have to give you a real life analogy to understand what AI agents are, I'm sure everyone is aware about that infamous analogy of understanding API from restaurant and waiter example. I'm sure whoever has been working with tech or been from non-tech have started learning about APIs would have definitely heard about it, right? So I'll just give a quick recap of it. So what happens basically, you go to a restaurant and you ask waiter, that, hey, I want this dish, and the waiter goes to kitchen and then gives you back the dish, right? And this is where waiter is acting as an API, right? Basically connecting two systems, right? But we will try using a similar analogy and try understanding, okay, what AI agents are, right? So let's say you went to that same restaurant and where you understood API, and then you talk to a waiter now, and here this waiter is not acting as an API for a moment, or API could be a subsystem that is part of it. But now it's with additional capabilities. You have given a requirement, hey, I would want a specific type of burger, right? And what this waiter does now is it does the reasoning. Here in this specific analogy, the reasoning could simply means that, hey, do we have this dish or not? Can we serve it, or is this the right time to serve it? If the waiter, as an AI agent, comes to a conclusion, okay, this is something we can build or we can deliver to the customer, then the next step is planning. Okay, how can we, prepare this burger, right? So then the waiter would start thinking, okay, we have multiple kitchen counters, right? And I think for burger to be prepared, we should go to kitchen counter two, right? And then AI agent does that. It goes to kitchen counter two, brings back the output and gives the user. So this is what the AI agent is doing here, wherein they're trying to do the reasoning, they're planning, and then they are executing as well, right? So that this is in a nutshell understanding of AI agents in terms of real life analogy, right? Now let's move forward and let's try understanding this autonomy spectrum. In fact, just to give a little bit of a context, I guess everyone definitely understands and knows that the world has always tried to move towards full automation since ancient times, in fact, using tools and all. The recent one, the biggest leap was industrial revolution that we have all seen, right? In the world of AI, let's try to see the different stages of automation spectrum, and this is where, like, we will also try to understand in the current stage where we are in terms of the autonomy spectrum. So the first stage of the autonomy spectrum is humans in control, and we'll try understanding this example with the evolution of a four-wheeler or any car, right? So in this first stage, humans used to perform all the tasks, right? For example, in case of a standard car, which was there, let's say 20, 25 years back, right? As a user, you were handling all tasks, including steering, speed, braking, and navigation, right? Now, right after this, then we move to the second stage in the autonomy spectrum, wherein, we've moved from humans in control to humans in the loop, right? This is where AI is assisting humans with specific subtasks, but humans still make key decisions and we're taking actions as well. For example, cruise control, right? Or parking sensors, right? Parking sensors, let's say, might give you a signal, okay, you should not go further back, right? There's a risk, or you could hit someone, right? But as a human, you are still taking that call, right? So, and here, AI does not only mean that the machines are having intelligence with the data, but they were systems which were kind of designed with the rule based ecosystems, and that's what something we were witnessing a lot in second stage of the spectrum. The third stage is human in the last mind, right? So this is where AI handles tasks autonomously but requires human oversight. In many of the developed countries, if you guys have not heard, you can go to Google, you can check. There used to be supervised automated parkings, wherein you just go ahead and you park your vehicle at a specific location and it'll get auto parked to that parking lot, right? But as a human, you can still control it. You can still probably stop it, or you can still change its slot, right? Right after this, currently we are in the fourth stage of the autonomy spectrum, which is known as AI as operator. And in terms of that four-wheeler example, we can say that, okay, this is a fully autonomous self-driving car, which is operating reliably within a specific geo-fenced area. But the moment you put this car, let's say, on a terrain which is like very difficult, it might not be able to do its job well, right? And that is where probably we can say that the next stage of autonomy spectrum could come in, which is AI in control, which is still a couple of years away, like AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, where AI would do everything, and as a human we can just sit back and probably go to farming, right? So this understanding of that entire ecosystem is extremely important in terms of how machines have evolved and where AI is definitely coming into the picture, right? Now let's try understanding a little bit of a definition of agentic AI. So agentic AI basically are type of an AI systems that don't just think or generate content, but they act or take actions independently to achieve specific goals, right? That's what simple definition of AI agents are, right? Now let's try understanding also the components of agentic AI. So you can ideally divide components of agentic AI in four categories. First is O. O means like observation. So this is the component which allows AI agents to understand the environmental data or users input and all. The second step is where R comes in. R means reasoning, and this is where LLMs are coming in, right? Which is laying the foundation of acting as a brain in that entire agentic AI, orchestration layer. And A simply means action. So these AI agents also enable action. They don't just like take request or think on it, but they also enable action. This action could be in terms of, okay, calling a specific AI if certain conditions are met, or let's say sending a mail or sending a WhatsApp message. It could be actions in any type which is available in terms of for you to, let's say, call that specific function digitally, right? L is learning. Learning simply means if you want to learn from the previous iterations, you can also enable the memory mode, and this is where you would be able to understand it end to end, right? Now I'll go ahead and cover the final slide. That is where we'll take quick pause of 2 minutes for questions, and right after that we will also start building one end-to-end AI agent. And with this AI agent, we will try also understanding different concepts that we will see in this slide. All right. So if you deep dive in terms of probably a better presentable picture, you can also understand these are the, I would say, components of overall AI agents. So first is prompting. You can understand it as a, let's say you hired a management trainee in your company, or you are a management trainee, right? That's pretty vague role, right? And MTs are like fresh out of college, and they can literally do anything and everything, probably that what the company would want. Not anything and everything, but definitely let's say they can do product, they can do marketing, they can do growth, right? A specific variety of role, right? But you can't allow them to, let's say, just go ahead and pick whatever you want, right? As a company, you would define their charter, you would define the roles and responsibilities, right? In a similar way, prompting allows you to define the roles and responsibilities of specific AI agents, right? It helps you define the scope and in what, let's say, respective categories they should not act, how to handle, guardrails, constraints, and they also kind of enable the wave a way of collecting the user inputs as well, so that you are able to kind of interact with them on a real time basis, right? LLMs, we've understood, they form the foundation of the brain, which does the reasoning and planning. And once the reasoning and planning is done, then the straightforward action is straightforward next path is doing the actions, right? What you want to finally achieve, right? Apart from this, there are three sub components as well, which is giving additional capabilities to AI agents, right? So first is knowledge base. I'm sure everyone knows that these LLMs are trained on massive amounts of internet data, right? But not any LLM is trained on, let's say, as on till yesterday, right? Even the I think Gemini 3 is one of the model which is trained till Jan 2025. Rest other agents, rest other LLMs are trained less than that time period, right? So if you want to, let's say, create kind of a product which gives you recent AI knowledge which is going in the market, but your LLM would not be trained for it, right? So for that, what would you do? You would probably go ahead, add your knowledge base, right? Or you would probably connect it with some tools. For example, let's say you connected it with with Google search, right? And your agents, your LLM would do a search, get that relevant information, and then send back to you for consumption, right? So these three sub components basically helps you add additional capabilities in AI agents. And we will also see as we go along in action. The one of the last component is session memory. What session memory means, for example, let's say when you are interacting with any AI, right? You've just said, let's say, line one, and it gave you very beautiful reply of line one that you've asked, right? And then you ask something else. So the moment you're asking something else, it forgot the context of the previous question or previous conversation that it had, right? That is where memory comes in the picture, right? So memory helps you retain the previous conversations as long as it is relevant. I'll give you one more example. So for example, we are just having a discussion, let's say, for next 15 minutes, right? We are trying to learn the basics and foundations of AI agents, right? So in this case, whatever I'm saying, right, you are able to connect with it because you are able to retain in your memory whatever I have already spoken, right? So that is what memory enables in this entire ecosystem, right? So this is what I wanted to cover in terms of foundations and theory, right? So I'll take a quick pause if anyone has any questions. And in the meantime, if anyone wants to, let's say, build along with me, so I'll give you an end-to-end demo how I would go ahead and build for that specific use case, right? And I will also highlight like how and what else we do differently in our program as well. That generative AI program, anyone who's considering, I think we have onboarding starting from like next week. But let's take a quick pause. Anyone has any questions, you can ask. Apart from that, I'm sharing a URL. I would recommend everyone who wants to try and build alongside me, please go ahead and do the sign up here. So while if there are any questions we are taking, you folks should be able to do that sign up. So I'm sharing a different tab wherein we have, the n8n ecosystem. So just 1 second. Yeah, whoever has question, folks, please do drop it in the chat only, because we have a limited time and we want to capitalize on that. The AI agent that we're going to build today. So I'll tell you what this AI agent does. This agent is trained on or has access to the knowledge base, which helps it access what are the order status. And it also has information which is going to help it understand which all are the running payment offers. And apart from that, it also takes input in terms of voice and text. You can already see some conversations happen, right? So we're going to try it running today. And this is a Telegram interface, right? So let's see, you just said hi, it just reacted instantly. Okay, hey, how can I assist you? Right. And let's say if you ask information about, can you share some information about Flipkart? Let's say, oh, it can help because definitely Flipkart won't like if Myntra's customer support is responding to its query, right? So that edge case is handled for sure, right? Now we'll go ahead and do one more thing, which is let's ask it. Okay, can you give me debit card offers? Debit card offers. Let's wait for a couple of seconds because it has to look into the data and then it'll give you the answer. Yeah, so you can see that debit card offers are here. Apart from that, let's give this order ID and let's ask it give me order status. I'll change the order ID to this. And the last use case would be let's give it a voice input. So I'm just doing it from my phone. Uh-huh. All right. Can you tell me what else you can help me with apart from last couple of conversations? Let's see. I don't know what it'll revert with, but let's try that. Mm-hmm. It's taking a couple of seconds. Oh, awesome. I can help you with checking the status of your Myntra orders, sharing current payment and bank offers available, right? For anything not covered in these areas, such as product details, returns, I recommend using the Myntra app's help, right? So basically what this is doing, why I basically asked this question intentionally. If anything about Myntra that you ask, which it is not allowed to share, it'll redirect you to the Mintra's app, right? For other, kind of companies or products, if you ask the information about, it will, kind of simply deny, hey, probably I'm not the right POC for that, right? So now let's go ahead and now I want to ask you folks in the chat, do you want to build this agent from scratch? Or do you want me to just show it how does it build and we probably rush towards so let me just see what is it that you are expecting in the chat. Okay, out of 260 folks, we don't, I'm looking for more than 10 answers. All right. Uh-huh. All right. You want to build it, right? So let's go ahead and let's start. And I'm sure everyone has, signed up, right? All right. Thank you. So we'll do it from the scratch. All right. Rushikesh, it's a, repeat for you. So you might have to, kind of revise your concepts. All right. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Just give me 1 second. All right, so many tabs open. I'm confused now. I'm here with you. I'm sharing your my screen. 1 second. Hmm. Here we are, right? So I'm sure everyone has done the sign up on n8n and yeah, just do the sign up on n8n.io, right? And do the mail verification. This is the URL and all the prompts and all that you need. We will, I'll help you as we go along, right? I'll parallelly create a new Google Doc, which I'll share here, right? For AI Summit webinar. I'll share this. Everything that going to do, I'm going to definitely reference my existing, docs for documents. I am just dropping this link in the chat so that you'll be able to access the prompts that we will be needing, right? So Simran, that is something I've given a demo of what we are building. We are building a Telegram chatbot, which is allowed to answer only two type of questions and also trained on handling and understanding, different, constraints as well. How do we go about doing it, right? So I'm sure everyone is with me. Okay, everyone is with me on this screen. Once you've done the sign up, the first thing is like you give it a name. So let's say this is a Telegram chatbot for Myntra. All right. Now I'll go ahead. Okay. So the first step of creating any AI agent is initiate or set up your trigger, right? Trigger is something which helps in initiating your any AI agent or any workflow in general, right? So in this case, since we want to build a chatbot, we'll do the Telegram integration later, right? But before that, let's try understanding. Let's create a workflow before going to do anything on the screen, right? So I'm just going to pick a sticky note. Right, I've picked this sticky note and I'll just write the workflow here. I'll just probably expand it so that everyone can see it. Okay. So our goal is to create, sorry, to create a Telegram chatbot, right? And we'll simply go ahead create the workflow first, right? So we need a way to give or collect user inputs or queries. That's first, activity that we definitely want to do, right? And post that, we need someone, which can make sense of this information, right? Probably an AI agent is required to make sense of the user queries, right? And the third is, once the query is query is worked upon, share the response back to source, right? This is the high level workflow that we definitely, need. And then this is something we can keep in mind, right? Whenever we are confused, okay, and on what node we are and how to go about it, right? So you can click a plus that you're seeing on your screen. I'll go ahead and click this plus, okay? And always ensure to save your workflow. That's going to definitely a lot of value added, right? So already paying. Oh no, I'll tell you guys later. Hold on, just be with me. I'll tell you what are the free ways of getting n8n for at probably a cost as like 400 rupees a month, or in some cases you can use it for free as well, right? But self-hosted is not recommended for various reasons. We'll cover that as well in then. Okay, now let's come back here, right? So we want to create a chatbot which takes user queries and gives us the response back, right? So first step in any workflow is add a trigger. In this case, let's click on this plus and add the chat trigger. All right, so we've clicked on this. Don't do anything, right? Whenever you want to go out of this kind of screen, always click somewhere here, or you click on this cross, right? So I have not done anything else. I've just identified that chat trigger and clicked on it, and that is where I have reached out to this point, right? So I'll just cross this, and this is where you can see that my um, you know chat trigger is connected. Now what I'll do next is I'll just try to see if it is working, right? So I've just clicked on this open chat, and I'll just simply say hi. Yeah, it's working. It's taking input, and you can see that our chat input is here, right? Now, the next step is what we want to do is like right now, okay, we will try to do all those customizations a little later. We'll first set up the foundations, and then we'll go ahead and do the customizations all over it, right? So now the next step is adding an AI agent, right? Because we've mentioned in our workflow, we need something which can make sense of a query and act accordingly, right? So we will just go ahead and add, AI agent. I've just clicked on this plus in case anyone is wondering how I have come to here. I'll just go back once again. We have added this node. I've clicked on this plus. Once I've clicked on this, then you can search for AI agent. You click here, and that's it. Don't do anything else. Everything is by default set up whenever you want to create a chat trigger, right? So that's it. It's showing you the red mark for different reasons. We'll talk about it because you've not added a chat model. So you could see across three capabilities that we are seeing in that component diagram, right? Memory, tool, and chat model, right? So for an AI agent to run, these two kind of components are optional, but this is mandatory, right? So we definitely have to add our chat model. So in this case, what I'm going to do is like you click here on chat model and search for Gemini, because Google Gemini's APIs keys are free for limited use case. So you'll just go ahead, click on this, and what you can do now, since you're doing it first time, click on create new credential. This is where it'll ask you the API key. How can you get the API key? I'll tell you. Click on AI Studio dot this URL, which I'll drop in the chat. Give me 1 second. I'll take a pause. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll take a pause. Let's just set up this. Yeah. Okay, so for now, let's understand how to take the API keys. Uh, I've just opened the URL which I have shared in Google Studio. All right, and I'll have to create here on create API key, and you can say that stock. No, this is like a Telegram bot for now. Telegram bot, and this is where from the drop down select default Gemini project and click on create key. After this, I'll take a pause, so don't worry. All right, and I've just copied it from here, and you can see the name and all. So I'll go back to my n8n. This is my n8n flow, and this is where I've opened to add the API key, and I'll click save. All right, I'll explain this again so that it is clear to you as well. So you could see that I have added my account. The free model by default is auto selected, so you don't have to do anything in model selection at the moment, right? Of course, at production level, you don't go ahead and work with free models. Depending on your use case, you do the uh, you know model evaluations as well, because there are like thousands of LLMs available, right? If you don't pick the right model, you might struggle with costing, tokenizations, you might struggle with latency, the entire experience, quality of output generation. There's like a lot of ifs and variables, right? So for now, we'll not go into that. I'll just take a pause. What I've done so far, I've clicked on this first plus and I've searched for chat trigger. Okay, I've clicked on this, and then I've got this. Okay, then I've seen a plus sign right beside it. I've clicked on this, then I've got this window again and I've searched for AI agent, right? I've clicked on this, then I've gotten this big box, right? In this big box, these two fields are optional. So I've not touched upon it. Earlier, when you added, you'll see that, red symbol here, because, it didn't had any chat model. Chat models are mandatory. You can see this star here, right? And what after I have done after that, I'll just delete this. I've clicked on this plus and I've searched for Gemini. You can see all the chat models you can access. You can pick anything that you would want, right? So right now, let's go ahead. We work with Gemini. So I've clicked here and we have seen this screen. This is where I've clicked on probably, credential to connect with. And I've clicked on create new credential. That API key that we have generated from this URL, I've generated a fresh one, or you can use any one which is available in a free tier. You can also do that. Copy this, paste it here, click on save, right? I've already done it, so I'll not do it again. I already have a model selected, and that's it. That's what you have to do, nothing else, right? So I've just revised whatever we have done so far. And okay, you can use this, see if it works for you. You can also get the API key, it's free for all. Permission denied. Let me run this once. Let me see if it's probably, I might have exhausted my free credits. Um, no, it's working for me. You can see that, right? Model has given the output. Yeah, I've asked it hi, it given me hi there. How can I help you today? Right. So that is something which is not good. All right. Okay. All right. Now I'll go ahead and let's do some interaction with this model. Right. So we'll not make any structural change for now. Right. We will tell you, when to do that. Let's try understanding, the model from here. Okay. Now let's ask about, okay, can you tell me more about Mintra? Let's ask this question. Okay, it's taking a lot of time. So what I will do is instead of this model, because this is a free model, right? So free model generally take relatively more time because there's a lot of load that they have, right? And I will just go ahead and disconnect this and use a OpenAI one, which I already have the paid model. Let's see if it works faster. I'm just trusting it. My account is already connected. It's here. You can use any model. It does not matter much for at least learning purpose, right? So I'll just go ahead. So you can see that, right? I asked it about the Mintra. It has given almost a GPT-like answer, right? This is not how chatbot reverts, right? Now you can ask it, okay, I want to complain about my last order. I've got a big size product. I'm sorry to hear about the issue. Could you please provide with the order number and all? Let's say that order number is this. Let's see what it does, because to be honest, we have not given it any information, right? Let's see what it does. How can I assist you with the order number, right? So yeah, you could notice one thing. When it asked me about the order number, right? When I've given the order number, it lost context, right? So I'll explain again, right? This is where I've raised the complaint. Okay, hey, I'm kind of, frustrated about my order. I've got a bigger size, and then of course it acted well, and it asked me about the order number. And the moment I have given it an order number, it forgot completely. Ideally, it should have acted on this, right? This is happening because this model does not have a memory, right? I'll again explain this concept. Let's say the number is given, it number is 10, right? Let's give this information to this. Okay. You mentioned the number is 10. How can I assist it with the number? Now let's ask it, what is the number? Now I don't see any image or number provided. Could you please share the image or specify the number you're referring to? So you could see that, right? It is able to forget, what the previous conversation was about, right? And that is what something which memory enables, right? That's something we are going to work towards, and will enable the memory. And then we'll see, okay, how the reaction of the model changes, right? Okay. So we'll just go ahead, click on this plus. Okay. Okay, we'll just go ahead and click on this plus. Okay, and we'll just click on this simple memory. For a production level use cases, you can go ahead and use different DBs, as per your comfort. Yeah, and whatever basically your company is using. So I'll just click on simple memory, and we don't have to do any setup because for chat input, everything is by default setup, right? So I've just done this much. I'll look into the chat. Looks like the number of chats are couple of in each message going to a different context. Correct, because it is not able to understand what the previous conversation was about. Right now, what we will do is like, let's hide this for now. Let's also delete this for now because we'll have a better view. Let's you know uh, bring it here. Okay, now once you click onto this, this is a field which you can customize, right? In this field, you can write 5, 10, 20, whatever is something that you want, right? What context window length means, like how many of the previous conversation you want model to remember, right? Do you want the model to remember 10 conversations? Do you want it to remember 20 conversations, right? As per your, specific business case, you can pick that, you can move forward accordingly, right? Now, in terms of when you are working for a company specific chatbot use cases, you can look into the data, you can look into all the user queries, and then you would try understanding in like whenever one end-to-end chat is happening, how many number of iterations are happening or how many number of interactions are happening, right? You can bring the number from there. Plus, if let's say the entire conversations are roughly ranging between 20 to 30 conversations, you don't have to save the entire 20 30 conversations, right? A lot of times the rolling memory also helps. So basically, whatever you've said in the first sentence versus what will you say in 20th sentence could be far different. But what if you are just keeping the context of recent 5 conversations? That'll be good enough for you to kind of revert and give the information on, right? So that's what memory means, and you can definitely, based on your use cases, you can, yeah. I think models are improving. I need to tone down them for these simple use cases. All right, so now let's try to see that if it is working now. Now let's give it the same use case. The number is 20. Okay, and I'll just put it here, right? And then you can ask it, okay, what is the number? Let's see what it does. Okay, you mentioned the number is 20. You're asking for clarification on the information. So basically, yeah, it's taking the conversation further, but it definitely understood, this is something that we're talking about, right? So this is basically the, understanding practical meaning of model, right? To follow the pace. But you would have noticed that I'm not basically making a lot of changes in the structure. I'm trying to explain the concepts by, explaining how it is working end to end, right? Now we'll go ahead, and the one thing you would have noticed in this chat interaction, the conversation seems like, human to human talk. It did not seem like, probably a customer support agent is talking about, right? So what we will do is we will go ahead and, add a prompt or a system message, right? So we will just go ahead and use this system message. Okay, and we'll try to do a couple of interactions with it. And how to add the system message? Double click on the AI agent, right? And this is where your user input is already selected. And click here on system message. You can just go ahead and simply copy paste it. And for your sharing purpose, I have already shared in the same document first system message. Okay, you can just copy paste it, and I'll just name it Telegram chatbot. All right, so now let's try talking to it after giving this system message. Now let's try also understanding it what it is. Okay, you're a customer support chatbot for a fashion e-commerce brand. Your primary role is to assist customers, do all this amazing inform customers about this, and follow this tone: polite, warm, and fashion forward. Concise but friendly. All right, so you can see that, right? You can customize it based on your use cases and limitations and escalations. If the request involves payment disputes, do this. Compliance and safety. So, you've tried to give in it more of a SOP. Whenever some request or some query is coming in, always keep these things in mind and keep these primary, and then you react. This is basically defining the roles and responsibilities of that intern or a new hire. This is what system message allows you. Otherwise, this in the whatever the flow that you've created, it was so far same as you are interacting to GPT or Gemini or any of these interfaces, right? Now you have to go ahead and start doing some customizations, right? So now I will go ahead and try talking to it. As I said again, I'm not doing too fast structural changes here. I've just added a system message which I have added in this document, which I've shared with everyone, right? You can see it from here. Now we will try understanding the implications of this system message. All right. So now you will go ahead here and okay. Now let's try asking about, can you can you share information about Mintra? Let's do that. Let's try understanding. Let's expand this slightly. Yeah, what it offers and all. Now let's also ask information about Uber. Yes, sure. Uber is a global ride hailing service that connects riders. That is also answering. Now let's also ask it about let's say Nika. Okay, doc again. It's okay, guys. I am sharing. I think I have shared it, but I'm sharing it again. Oh, that's a different bot. Okay, this was the one that I was sharing with all of you. One second. One second. I have typed it on different. It's okay. I'm just sharing the link. Don't worry. Uh-huh. Here you go. I'm also see if we can pin it. Yeah. All right. Thanks. So now this is the prompt that we are running. And so you could see that, right? This is a Mintra customer support chatbot, right? It's almost answering, questions about Uber, Mintra, and Nika. Let's ask it about, okay, let's ask it about Zerodha. Zerodha. Zirda is actually a leading Indian financial service, not related. So basically, it is trying to answer anything which is related to fashion commerce. That's what we have given it in a system message, but it's not. But still, it's giving information about other fashion commerce products. You can see that Nike it is giving answers to, right? For Uber, it is not giving answers, I guess. For Uber also it is giving answers, looks like. So now let's try to see that how we can go ahead and put that constraint, right? And that is where we have to use the updated system message, which we have here. So I'll just give that to you folks as well. Um, Let me first give it to you. I'll put it here. Dated SM1. I'll put it here. Okay. I'll give you a walkthrough of it. I'll just go here, click on this arrow, and then Control All, replace. Now here you could notice one thing that I would wanted to specifically consider. Everything else from here is almost similar to what it was earlier. Now what you could see that what I have mentioned here, which is like out of domain queries, like how to handle out of the domain queries. So basically, if the user asks questions unrelated to Mintra or this, right? This is how you revert, right? Now let's try running the same queries again. Can you, okay, sorry. Can you share information about Nika? Because Nika it was giving, right? Now let's try asking about Nika. Oh, it's still giving. Oh, probably it is giving because of the memory. Just give me 1 second. It is saved in the memory. Okay, let me ask about a different player. We have enabled the memory, right? So although this is a conflicting thought that we're giving, but let's ask it about Flipkart. That's something that we have not shared. Now, here you can see that it is not answering, right? Or you can also go ahead and ask it about Ola. Go ahead and ask it about Ola. Yeah, it is not giving, right? Because now it is acting with the revised guardrails and the constraints that you've put in. Okay. One more thing I'll share with you guys. I'll just give you guys 30 seconds to think in this entire flow, right? One thing you would be observing everywhere else there is one tick, only in the memory there are two ticks. What are the reason for it? Why there are two ticks in the memory? It's taking we are connecting it with GPT models, right? They already have information related to Myntra because Myntra is like almost decade old company. I'm just giving you guys 20 seconds to think about. Interesting. Yeah, many of you have already got it. That's super amazing. Great, great. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, awesome. So yeah, what it is doing right now. Okay, let's run it live and then try to see the flow. Okay. So now let's ask about what are the trending products on Myntra. So you could see that, right? First, this was run, right? So whenever you run any flow or any agent, it first takes the context or the initial memory or initial information from the memory, and then it sends all of this information along with the system message that we have given here, right, to GPT. Right. And once GPT has acted on system message and the previous context that you have saved so far, then it gives you the output. So in the last run, that output is also saved again in the memory, right? That is why memory has two runs, right? Many of you have said it correctly. Amazing. Yeah, you can use any platform, RF, you're comfortable with. Awesome. Okay. Or you can use Zapier, Make, Flowwise, whatnot. There are so many out there, right? Google also has, their platform for AI agents. Anti-gravity is the one, right? Awesome. Now let's move ahead in this. We will try adding it the probably the further capabilities, right? Let's say if we want this specific AI agent to give us information about, for example, um, our orders or payment offers and all, right? So how would we get it, right? So that is something we have to add that information, we have to add that data to this, right? So how do we do it is I will just share this sheet with you. This is where you can see you have to duplicate it. I'm adding it into your document. uh, I'm saying it as knowledge base. Okay, sorry, why it is. Okay, that's correct. This is sheet, right? So you can click on this and you can duplicate it, right? And this sheet, you can see that have 1,000 order entries, right? With other information like status, region, estimated delivery time, common issue. And then it also has information about payment methods, offer type, and other, payment related challenges. Basically, if you face this issue, this could be a resolution step, right? So now what we have to do is, I'm just waiting for 10 seconds so that you can duplicate it, and then we'll go ahead and make changes here. How do I how do I provide information about my own account? Depends. There are multiple ways you can create it using put it on a Google Drive, put it in some kind of a DB, and you can connect it with tools. Tools provide multiple capabilities. All right. I hope you guys have copied it. All right. Now the next step is, next step is connecting the information that we already have. And since you guys have seen, we have that information in a Google Sheet, right? So what we need to connect this AI agent is with Google Sheets, right? And why I could think of, because this is where my information is. If my information would have been, let's say, in some server, I would have, let's say, use this HTTP request tool to hit an API and get that information, right? So right now we know that Google Sheets, we have the information. So we click here, right? When we've clicked here, you could see that this window is coming and you can see the operation is get rows, right? So what we want from this Google Sheet is get that information, whatever is there, because then only our, AI can take that information and process it, right? So now, what you have to do is like account setup, very primary. So I'll do it from scratch. You click here, click on create new credential, this simple Google sign in login. Let's say I've done here. It'll take me here and it'll do this. And could see that now all my information would be all whatever is, let's say, whatever sheets we have connected with this Google account, I'll be able to fetch it. So how would I be able to fetch it? I'll just click on this field that I could see. So I'll look for Myntra chatbot. Yeah. And within Myntra chatbot, you could see that there are multiple sheets here, order status and payment offers and all, right? So you have to connect it with a specific sheet. So let's say I want to first connect with order status data, right? And no other changes required here for now, right? And you name it as order status so that you can easily identify it, right? Now, we will go ahead and we'll add it again because we also need to give it a payments data as well, right? Same activity we need to do, search for that same document, and within that document, we'll have to add the payment offers data and just name it payment offers data. All right. Now we have order status data and we have payment offers data, right? Now let's ask it information. Can you tell me about running payment offers? Yeah, so you could see that it has already, started doing these activity. It has, you wanted information related to payment offers data. It went through the entire flow and it has gone to this sheet only and it has not gone to this sheet, right? Now, if you ask about, can you share order, can you share how many orders in total got cancelled? Yeah. So if you're asking about the order, right, it is then going to that order sheet and then, giving you that information. Total cancelled orders is 61, right? So this is how your tool operations work end to end. Apart from that, this time, let's also try to see one more thing here. Okay, so whenever you are adding lot of information, let's say you are adding not only two tools, you are adding 10 tools, right? In that case, it is recommended that in your system message, you also have a mention of that your entire AI agent should use which tool for which use cases, right? For the simple use cases, it will be able to access all the information, then it is okay. But for extensive use cases, it is required that you write a more enhanced system prompt. We'll also see that. I'll also share that with you as well, right? Apart from that, I'll also share you one more fact. Let me just add a updated system prompt and yeah. I'll just add it and then I'll explain you one more concept to save tokenization or save tokens. Okay, I'll explain this in a moment, right? Okay, let's drop it here. Okay, in this flow, one thing you could observe is whenever we are asking a order information, it is giving us it's going to basically that order sheet only. When we are asking the information about payments, it is going only to the payments data, right? Now, I'm sure this might have been occurred to you guys why it did not have all the data in one sheet, right? Why we had to have two separate sheets, right? So the answer to this is whenever it is detecting, okay, this type of information is there in this resource, right? It is taking all the data of that resource and then sending it to respective LLM to work upon. All right. But if your data size is too bigger, the more the data, more the token size, right? That's simple concept that you could understand as well, right? If your content is mutually exclusive, it is ideally recommended that you have multiple resources for it, so that for that specific query, your entire AI agent setup is not accessing the entire data as it is not required, right? So it is a best practice to, let's say, save tokens and not incur a lot of cost as well. You have mutually exclusive data in different sheets, right? Ideally, this model is also something which would not be one of the great in terms of production related use cases in production, because you would not have 1,000 order entries, right? You would have let's say 1 million order entries or 50,000 order entries, right? Just imagine your AI agent has to process 1 million or 50,000 or whatever 1 lakh order entries in like less than 2 seconds, right? It would require amazing processing power. If you are not having that in control, then you'll have your model would have latency, right? Plus a lot of tokens, right? So this model is not scalable as well when you have, let's say, production level use cases. That is where RAG based concepts and all those applications comes into the picture, and that is something, yes, we'll not be able to cover it in this session, because that's like we do it like over 6 hours of live hands-on. That's something we'll be definitely covering in our generative AI program that we're starting from 17. I'll talk about it in the end as well, but this is like to let you know about the overall concepts, right? Now the next part is connecting it with Telegram. Okay, and I think rest other things we have already done. I'll just quickly explain the updated system message. Okay, so in this is a context given, tone and brand voice, supported topic. Basically, whenever the queries with respect to these topics, do answer it. Out of domain queries, answer it like this. And safety and escalations, all these things are here. It's not RAG. You can say that for knowledge base. Only answer based on verified Myntra support documents. If information is not found in the resources shared, then do not revert, right? And this is where the knowledge scope and data access have been kind of mentioned. Okay, you have access to this sheet which has these columns. You have access to this payment sheet which has these many columns. You do the formatting like this, right? So this is what the updated prompt does. It reduces the chances of hallucination when the lesser number of queries are too much in I would say in less amount of time as well, right? So if the best practice that you would notice and see in the industry is like you ensure that you go ahead and explain in as much depth as required, right? So that your model does not have to do imagination, right? So this is about the flow. The next step is connecting it with Telegram. But before doing that, and of course, there are further flows as well, like connecting it with speech input and voice input. That is something will take a lot of time. So we'll not work on that, but we'll at least work on for sure that Telegram connecting flow, right? So I'll take a quick pause. You can connect with WhatsApp. You can connect it with your website. You can connect it with any of interface that you would want to. All right. Awesome. I guess this is something which is covered. No queries. I'm taking a quick pause. If you have customer based specific order tracking like name, OTP, and order details when matched with OTP, so then only show. Yeah, yeah, definitely it is possible. You have to set that flow up, right? And this is where, let's say, how, as I've started this flow with, right? Create a workflow, right? So how would that workflow work? You take, whenever someone is raising a request, you take the mobile number from them, and that mobile number would come into this flow. You would use some APIs of Twilio or Gupshup. You hit that OTP endpoint and then ask user to enter the OTP. Once it is verified, then allow that customer ID to access that information, right? So you can, yeah, do that. What is a business? There are so many business use cases, and each and every business there are like chatbots. I don't know how to edit key. Okay, you have to add the key while you are doing the credential setup. All right, I think we are good here. Now the next step is doing the Telegram integration. Okay, so for that, what I'll do is, all right, so this is where we are. This is the Telegram, and on Telegram, you have to look for this user, which is bot father. I'm adding it here in your chat. Whenever you open Telegrams, go here, search for bot father. Don't search for the bot father, search for only bot father. Okay. Once you come to this, right, this is where you can go ahead and click on / and click on new bot. Okay. And once you type new bot, then it'll allow you to initiate the bot creation process, right? So I've earlier given a name of alpha, beta, Mia. So I'll give it, let's say, Mintra, Alpha, Beta. I'm using this weird name just to avoid duplication and save time. All right. This is the final step. I'll tell you exactly what to do, so you don't have to worry about it. If this works, then I'll get the API key, right? So now what I have to do is like come back here. We have the API key. We have everything to set things up, right? So now what we'll do is we'll go here, this plus, right? And we will, since our now chat message would come from Telegram and not come from here, right? So we don't need to add Telegram actions. We have to add Telegram triggers, right? So within Telegram, search for it, collapse this, look for Telegram. So, Telegram would basically help you trigger the workflow when these things are happening, right? So right now we want to initiate the workflow whenever a new message is coming in, right? That is why we are going to click on message. So I've clicked on this, not doing anything right now. I've just clicked on it, clicked on this, and then this was the interface that I got. I've just clicked back, and that's where I am here. I'm just deleting this part. I'm just removing it because I don't need this now. I'll just connect it with this. Ensure that it has to be a trigger. Trigger always comes with flash symbol. So always keep that in mind, right? Your workflow has to initiate from trigger only. right? Awesome. Now let's go ahead do the setup, right? For doing the setup, just double click on it, right? Click down, create new credential, right? The simple, that chatbot API setup. Only the name here is not API key, but access token, right? Add this access token. Okay, I've added this, and yeah, it'll do the connection. Yeah, whenever connections are successful, then you can see that it is the signal is green, right? And now we will go ahead and we'll try and test it. To test it, just click on execute step. Whenever you are clicking on this, now it'll say, okay, I'm listening for test event, right? You can find your bot URL here. So once again, I have to open it up from my phone. If you are able to successfully create the bot, I'll go back. You'll be able to see the URL to access your bot from here. So just click on this. I'm not able to see the start button here, but you should be able to see the start button. Now by workflow, now this bot is something which anyone can interact with. If you want, you can also interact with this, right? So I'll go ahead and you can see that it was listening to my Telegram message. And when I've clicked on, start, it has already, captured that, right? So you can see that here. Now, the next step is, running this flow end to end, right? And now let's click on execute workflow. So it is again waiting for you to create an event in Telegram. Let's create it. How are you? Oh, this error, right? So let's try to see that why the error is coming in. Okay, now let's double click on it. Error in subnode simple memory, right? Now let's go to subnode. Let's try to see what the error is, right? So I've gone here and you could see that, okay, no session ID is found. So we have given this as a variable field, but there's no, such field in other previous nodes like this. So how do we go ahead and set it up? We just go ahead and click on define below. And one more thing that we do, we first disconnect it and then we run it one more time. All right. So let's try to run it. Okay, folks, just for your understanding, we will hit multiple errors and then we'll make mistakes and then we'll learn from them so that it stays longer for you, right? So there'll be back to back some errors. So hold on to this. Now I'll say again, hi. Okay, there's again one more error. So now let's see why this error is, right? So you could see that again, same issue. Now here, it is saying that the input should come from the chat input, but there is that chat trigger we've already disabled, right? So we also have to make the changes here. So how would you go ahead and make those changes? Uh, okay, I'll go back. You just double click on it, right? And look for source for prompt field and click on this, select on define below. This is where you want to give your user message, right? And where your user message is, find where text. I just hold on to this and drag and drop this here. Got it? And what is the next step? Now let's try running it. Let's see what happens. Execute workflow and then let's say hello. It worked, right? So at least we have resolved one error, right? Now let's try doing one thing. Let's connect it with memory again. We have connected it with memory. And yeah, now what we'll do is like you could see that the setup is remaining, right? This is where we wanted to add some key, but what this key is, right? See, when what we are trying to do here is we are trying to save previous conversations, right? But those previous conversations has to be saved against some tenant, right? For example, let's say I am interacting with this bot, there has to be some unique ID for me, right? Because we don't want our systems to let's say let's say for me, I don't want someone else's conversations to be saved under my name. It will not help my context, right? So this session ID is unique to a user. So for that specific user, how many conversations you would want to save, this is where you'll get it saved. I'll just bring it back to 5. Yeah. And I'll what is going to be the key here is chat ID, right? So we just go ahead and drag and drop it. Now let's try running it. Let's see if it works now, right? Again, click on it. Okay, it is again waiting to hear from Telegram. So let's go again and let's say that. Okay, now memory issue is also resolved. Now you could see that memory also ran twice as it was doing earlier, right? Now let's do one more thing. Let's try to ask it about order status from Telegram, right? But before order status, let's ask about UPI offers, right? Okay, I've typed it here and now I'll execute the workflow. Now you could see that when I'm asking for UPI offers, it didn't went to this sheet. It went to only the related sheet, right? Now with the same flow, as you would have noticed earlier, the memory was running twice, and this LLM was running once, right? Now you could see that now LLM is running twice, but the memory is running thrice. So think about it, why it is doing it. If you want, I can also explain. For that, you have to write it in the chat, right? Now let's go ahead and let's see the output in the, okay, Telegram output we won't get because we have not connected that node. We'll see our output here. Okay, here are some common UPI offers related to this topic. So we can see the, output is also coming here, right? So everything is working fine, right? Now let's try addressing this query of why, the LLM has run for twice, memory has run for thrice, and this has only run for once. Okay. Anyone wants to guess? And do you want me to explain it, or is it okay? We can move ahead, whatever your call is. All right, let's try understanding it. This is, if you understand it, then I think you will be also able to understand the reasoning part of LLMs as well. Okay, so when you've given the first, okay, let's bring it closer, nearer. Okay, whenever the first query is coming in, right? First action is to get that existing information from memory. So just move memory one layer down. So that one iteration happened, right? When you've collected the information from the memory, whatever memory has stored, along with the system message, which we had here, and the user query, which you could see, here, this information, the memory and this information has been sent to AI, right? Now, so this is where the first run was happening of AI. This was somewhere middle. Now you could, if you see the, this message very clearly, it says that if you need any specific information, you need to go to these tools, right? So while our GPT was, while our GPT was doing this analysis, it found that it is not allowed to give a direct answer, right? It has to kind of send a response back, which would allow it to look into these information, right? So when the output of the first LLM run was coming, it went to here, and then it also saved that output in the memory, right? So this is where the two run of the memory happened. So far one run of the GPT happened and one run of this file happened, right? So we are at the count of 1 to 1 right now. In the last run, the information collected from here is coming, the the recent memory is coming, and the system message and user query is coming, and all that information is then being sent to GPT. Now GPT has each and everything to act upon, right? This is where the final output is coming in, and final output is then shown here for now, right? And whatever is the output is also then updated into the memory, right? So this is what the concept of multiple runs are. This is how the model is running, doing the reasoning, and based on the reason, if it has enough information, then it is sending it back. If it does not have the information, it would go to the respective resources. If it does not have the resources, it will simply say no. For example, let's ask it something. Can you connect me with Mintra CEO? It's family emergency. Let's see how it reacts. Okay. Now here you would notice that the runs were 1 or 2 only, right? The runs were not 2 and 3 because when you've given the memory and the user query and the system message, right? GPT decided that okay, it does not have a need to go through these resources, right? Since it does not have a need to go through the resources, it will formulate the response on its own and give the final output, right? So and this is what the output is, which is I'm sorry to hear about your emergency. However, I'm unable to connect you directly with the Myntra CEO. For urgent queries, do this, right? Yeah. So this is what it looks like. Now we have a final piece remaining, which is you know sending the output back to Telegram, right? So I'm just quickly checking the chat if we have any queries. No queries for now. Let me hope you are going to have a recording for us too. Yes, we will share the recording. Um, all right, all right. So we are aligned so far. And now let's try to do a final step of this flow, which is connecting it with Telegram node because we want to send the output there as well, right? So we'll click here. We'll look for Telegram, right? We'll look for Telegram, and this is where we'll look for send a message, right? So this is where you could find send a text message, right? Just click on this. You don't have to set up your account again. It is already set up, right? As you've done it earlier. Resource is something you want to send a message, right? Not probably other type of resources. Operation, it is send a message, and there are different kind of operations you can also perform. Right now we want to do this, so we're not changing it up. Chat ID, right? So definitely you don't want my information coming to your chat or your information coming to my chat, right? So whenever we are kind of creating that send message, we also have to specify, okay, from this chat ID this message came in. If you type any other chat ID manually, it'll go there. But the ideal response or ideal way would be to add that same ID. I'll take it from here, from the chat ID. Okay. And this is where the output of the AI should be going on, right? The AI agent, right? This is the simple setup. And you click on execution, right? Now you could see that we've also got the, that CEO answer here, right? And it is also giving me this message of this message was sent automatically with n8n. So how we help disable it is click on, okay, I'll go back so that no one leaves, misses the context. Just double click on the final node, which is doing that action. Double click on it, look for add a field. This is where click on add n8n attribution, disable it, right? Now this is where if you try running it, okay, give me debit card offers, and you have to click here and then wait for the response. Yeah, it's working now. Many of you would be also asking, okay, I have to go everywhere, for every flow, into n8n execute workflow, then this was happening. Okay, so this is not how you would be handling your user queries, right? So the next way is like you deploy it in production or publish it. To publish a flow, you have to click here, right? And whatever version, if you want to change the version name, which works for your better understanding, you can click on this here and just click on publish. It'll give you some checklists, set up error notifications. You can set that up, test reliability of AI steps, right? Evaluations and all, right? If you want to do all these, you can do it, but that's like a little bit more advanced for production level use cases. And this is where you will see that now everything, you don't have to go back there, right? So now let's ask about total orders delivered. Let's stay on the screen only. Let's see. Okay, the total number of orders delivered is 81. Okay. You can also ask about, okay, what are the major reasons for order cancellations? The major issues for order cancellations on Myntra based on common issues observed include this, right? This is where you could see. Now, let's look into the final step wherein how can you go ahead and check the executions, right? So this is where you click on executions, which is right beside the editor window. And you can see all these executions that you've run here, right? Let's say this is where we've hit an error, right? So click on this. And once you click on this, you could see that. You could see why the error is coming in. So you can go to that specific executions in past, and you would be able to kind of, see the error. You double click on this and you will be able to see that, okay, no problem specified because we are not taking the input here, right? So this was the error that we are facing. Plus one more thing, all the production executions would not come with pipe symbol. All the test execution would, come with, pipe symbol so that it's easier for you to identify, right? Apart from that, there's also one more point that we can talk about. You can also definitely connect it with a voice node, but this is like a pretty standard flow. Depending on your use cases, you can definitely look for further expanded workflow. What we are working upon is something. I'll show it to you once again. If I go here, this is the. Yeah, for the voice input one, I had this flow, right? So you had to end up creating this flow, and if we start building it now, it'll take another half an hour. So we'll take a pause on that. But I hope this was good enough for you to start building, and for your use cases, keep iterating on it. Apart from this, many of you were also asking, how can you use it at a lesser cost? You can just look for n8n cloud hostings. Okay, you can self-hosted and hosting from here. You can also access it from there. Are like different products, right? Web space kit, this is something we are using in product space. So if you click here, you'll be able to see that is charging you only 400 rupees per month. Yes, you might have to take it for 2 years and all. That might be, yeah. Yeah, and it's giving you, okay, one more thing that you would see here, n8n 25 euro. If you do the pricing comparison, if you go here, if you go to pricing, right, and if you see here, right, so okay, now it has increased it to unlimited users. Earlier it was like only, you know, uh, 2 users, right? So yeah, this is fine. I think rest same seems like similar function. Okay, one shared project, that is one good benefit. But here you will see that there are like unlimited workflow executions, unlimited active workflows, unlimited users, fully self-hosted, 600 plus app integrations. This is providing way more features at a way lesser pricing, right? So we use it for our, let's say, production level use cases and flows in product space here, right? So I hope this was helpful.